All right, joining me now to discuss all of this, CNN political commentator and former senior advisor for the Trump campaign, Jack Kingston, former D.C. Democratic Party chairman and attorney, A. Scott Bolden, and CNN legal analyst, Shan Wu. All right, good to see you all. So, Shan, you were a former lawyer for Rick Gates. He is coming up potentially this week. We heard some pretty striking testimony coming from the former accountant who said she helped cook the books, for Manafort. What will Rick Gates bring to the table? And again, he pleaded guilty in exchange for this testimony.
Yeah, I think what he's going to bring is he's really at the center of it. And, I'm commenting on the public record, nothing attorney-client privileged. But I think the prosecution needs to show that he is pretty much one and the same as Manafort. I mean, the defense's job is to begin to pry him apart, to be able to blame him, and that has not gone so well this week. I mean, it started out pretty well. Ellis was kind of on their side a little bit. But with the accounting testimony, I was surprised at how weak the cross-examination was.
Really? What do you think needed to be delivered?
Well, for one thing, when you have immunized witnesses, you have a lot of potential leverage and fodder to say, hey, you're in the pocket of the prosecution, you'll say anything they want. They didn't really hit them that hard on it. Particularly one of the accountants, there was a lot of questioning about tax terms, and although that does make it sound complicated, I don't feel they're really scoring any points to hurt their credibility. And I think the worst thing for the defense was that it seemed clear that they all thought of Manafort and Gates as pretty much the same person.
And we'll see if that happens.
Part of what she did say was that it was all Manafort. And I think that hurt the conspiracy prosecution if she was saying that, no, this is all Paul Manafort insisted on signing all the checks and knowing what was going on, and nothing happened until he was there.
In terms of the bank fraud, in terms of cooking the books, trying to evade taxes.
Yes. And so I think that kind of complicates it a little bit for the prosecution in terms of the conspiracy.
So if this is so insular and it's, Manafort and his, demise, why does it appear the president seems so nervous, according to people who work with him?
Well, I don't know that he's nervous because, he's always getting accused of having emotions in one way or the other by people who aren't.
Especially in his tweets.
Yeah. But a lot of times people outside the White House are saying things about him. I don't want to go back to what Judge Ellis said in May, which was it was very clear that the true target of this investigation is Donald Trump and that they're going to ruin Paul Manafort in order to get him to say something about Trump. And that I'm paraphrasing it, but that's what Ellis said.
But he's not saying anything about it. He's not saying anything about
Donald Trump. Do you see that is the avenue
Trump.
potentially?
Maybe, but we wouldn't even be watching this trial if Manafort had not been chairman of the Trump campaign. But here's the really political and legal thing that just kind of is mind-boggling. Donald Trump tweeted today or yesterday about the Manafort trial, and the White House political position has been that this is all about Manafort before he got involved with Donald Trump.
Right. So
and
why
now Donald
inject
Trump
yourself
is
into
injecting
it?
himself. Hold on, Jack. Don't pivot on me right now. I want to go. Let me go. He interjected himself in a trial that he was not supposed to be a part of simply because Mueller is investigating Manafort. And by the way, Donald Trump is a subject of Mueller's investigation. It makes no sense for him to do that. Yeah. And so the more we hear Donald Trump's name in this trial, the less we hear it in this trial. The Democrats will at least either link it or won't link it, depending on how often Donald Trump's name comes up.
It's almost like a reminder, like, I know you all are talking about him, but what about me?
Right.
I don't think he can stay out of things. If you think about also this
so just jump in anyway, right?
Well, but it has to be potentially damaging.
A senior Republican senator this week, he says, I'm not attacking the Koch brothers because they're still good donors of mine, so why stir up that? Why talk about LeBron James or our own Don Lemon? The president does, get involved in a lot of things, but
it'd be much better if he just left him.
And he could have an opportunity to speak if he really wants to. And his attorneys, of course, are advising against the president being interviewed by Bob Mueller, but apparently they are still working on questions, the parameters, etc. Do you see, Shan, that the president just simply cannot resist, even if his attorneys say don't do it? He can't resist but talk about it face to face with Bob Mueller.
I think he definitely has a discipline problem in terms of message, and I think that's why his lawyers are so worried about him actually sitting down with Mueller.
Why is he so insistent that he would want to?
Well, I think that's sort of a spin type issue, and they want to set the stage for if Mueller, who does not want to litigate all the way to Supreme Court, can he subpoena the president or not, if they end up doing the report without Trump's input, I think that's great for Trump because he can say, I would have sat down and told you my side of the story, but you didn't want to hear it because your conditions were so unreasonable.
Yeah, but Fred, it's very dangerous for the president to sit down with Mueller and his people. He has
But
no
it's dangerous for him
relationship.
to tweet, and he's still
Exactly, because it may be persuasive, not dispositive, but he's lending himself into this whole obstruction piece, and it's like building blocks, whether it's just a tweet or not. It may not be an order to Sessions, it may just be a hope or a wish, but it still plays into a negative narrative. But the reality is, Donald Trump can't sit down with the Mueller investigators because, one, he thinks he's a superior deal maker. That's what Mueller wants. But secondly, there's pretty good evidence out here that Donald Trump, as a narcissist, has no relationship with the truth. And if he sits down with Mueller, right, if he lies or if he misleads, okay, then he's looking at a charge or an allegation in this report, whether they can prosecute him or not, of not obstruction, but of lying to the FBI. It's very dangerous for him. Mueller may need it because he wants to know about corruptible intent, but Mueller may also be thinking that if he lies to us, that's a strong allegation, much like the bank fraud in Manafort's case.
And Jack,
I mean, all you have to do is make
last
one
word, how
misrepresentation.
important is this Manafort, the outcome for the president?
I think it's important, but it's not related to him whatsoever, and everybody agrees with that. But I also think that one of the things that Scott's overlooking, when Andrew Weissman goes to the Hillary Clinton victory party, and 9 of the prosecutors that are on the team Mueller has selected have donated to Hillary Clinton, I think that there is a partisan
So they can't have
element that you
political
can't-
beliefs.
You
They
know
don't have
what?
political bias. They
Let me tell you something.
have political
If
beliefs.
the gentleman will yield, let me say this. There are a lot of fine Democrats and Republicans in this town, and there are a lot of fine independents. It's incredible that Bob Mueller couldn't find some of the independents, but instead got 9 partisan donors to Hillary Clinton.
Partisan donors.
If I wanted
they're
to win
doing
the
an
case, I'm just saying.
investigation. So
it
now
was-
if I'm a prosecutor, I can't have a political belief, and I can't exercise my First Amendment to give to a candidate.
If you're doing
Unbelievable. This must be the new GOP. This is the new GOP.
I want to remind
The evidence,
also,
the evidence
one of
does
that.
speak for
All
itself.
right.
let me remind the distinguished lawyer, they're going after 305 years. Al Capone was convicted of tax evasion, 11 years, the biggest tax
That
evasion
still did not
trial.
answer the question. Why
Well,
is the president, so
pivot.
concerned about the Manafort trial? We'll leave it right there for now.
It's politics. It shouldn't be politics. It should be fair. It should be
Should be in the court.
only 1% of all tax
All right.
evaders
Thank
go
you.
to trial. You
Jack
know that.
Kingston, Scott Bolden, Shan Wu, thanks to all of you. I appreciate it.
Thank
We'll have
you.
you back.
Thanks, Fred.
Because we always have so much to talk about.
We did. I got to straighten out
Just never
Scott.
enough time. But thank you. Appreciate it.